Hello, guys, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Print Pass. I am Mick. I'm here with
Alex.
And we are your podcast for all things DTF, screen printing, everything you need to know. We've got it.
You bet. We got a big episode planned this week, starting off with the traditional what we do, just going over exactly what we did this week, telling you guys a little bit behind the scenes if you guys haven't been watching the YouTube videos. And then after that, we have a big week of industry news to go over. Last weekend was Impressions, so we have a whole bunch of things to talk about. And then for our main topic, guys, those of you who have been asking for screen printing content, we are going to be delivering.
That was a spoiler.
Of course, you got to let them know what they're going to be listening to, and they already saw it in the title.
Yeah.
Hey guys, just want to take a quick minute to thank our sponsor for the show, AMS Transfers Plus. AMS Transfers Plus is an online platform that you can use to sell your own designs on DTF transfers. Are you looking to start your own business? AMS Transfers Plus can be a great option for you to start your business from home completely online. We handle the production, fulfillment, and shipping of all of your DTF transfers, so all you need to do is handle the marketing, the designs, and the customer support. Upload as many designs as you have to your own website and send that to your customers. As your customers order, we will fulfill the orders and send them to your customers directly. All you have to do, like I said, is market the web store and get your customers there. If you guys are looking to sign up, you can go to the website amstransfers.com/plus. That's amstransfers.com/PLUS. Go there and you can see that we offer 3 different paid plans where you can get discounts to our base transfers, which allows you to take home more money at the end of the day, as well as a free starter plan where all you have to pay for is your custom domain, and it is completely free and you get the base cost of the transfers. Again, if you are looking to sign up, that's amstransfersplus.com.
All right. So starting off, we're just going to talk about a little bit, like Alex said, what we did this week. This week started off, I wouldn't say slow, but just your typical DTF orders at the beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then right around Thursday, we got quite a few orders for clothing, quite a few big orders. So I actually took a pretty big business call on Thursday morning, and that was a huge client for us, which is great. And then on top of it, Thursday night, we had one of the schools hit us up for some sweatshirts for their sports teams. And then we also just had one of our regulars place an order. So it was a lot of clothing orders this week, which is great, which brought us to our main topic of why screen printing. And then why don't you talk about a little bit, you had a big week also talking about garments.
Yeah. So if you guys have been watching and following along on the YouTube channel, you guys have probably seen the videos that I've been posting where I've been testing all of the t-shirts. So I ordered 10 different t-shirts and I've been testing all of them thoroughly. So I made this like rubric, and so just check out the video if you guys are interested. But yeah, so I spent the better part of like the past 3 days filming this video. And when I initially thought of it, I thought it might be like an afternoon filming it. I did not know that it was going to stretch this long. But I tried to do like my best with it. I tried to actually get some quality data that hopefully you guys can repeat yourself. And it allows you to make some better decisions in your own buying habits if you guys are looking to put DTF transfers on clothing.
Was there any garments that surprised you? You don't have to tell them. You can make them watch the video.
Yes, there certainly were. So if you guys are interested, make sure you check out those videos. It's a 3-part series. Part 1, I go over exactly how I'm going to be grading each of the t-shirts. And then part 2, I talk about 1 through 5 of the t-shirts. And then part 3, 6 through 10. And I don't know. So at the end of part 3, I stacked all of them up next to each other so you can get a side by side. And doing that, it really showed some like interesting comparisons, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a good educational if you're just looking to know what garments. You went into a lot of detail on like specific aspects of the garments and what they thrived in and what they didn't. So yeah. I think that's, give it a watch, guys.
I tried to be as thorough
as possible. You worked hard on it.
Yeah. So if you guys have anything that I could do to make the test better, I have a couple of suggestions already in the comments that I think would really help and add to it. So if you guys have anything, please get in contact with me and let me know.
Yeah. So this week was basically just I guess getting some big orders placed, and then next week gets printed. So
Yeah, we got the T-shirts ordered.
Yep.
And
they should be have been delivered today.
Yes, they should have. And we should actually just check on the supplies, make sure we have enough to complete the order.
Because there's a lot.
Yeah. We'll probably end up vlogging it on the channel.
And something also that is cool about one of these orders is that the big client that we placed an order with, or that she placed an order with us, one of the prints is actually a foil. So we get to play around with foil now.
Yeah, I think I, in one of my weekly videos from last year, went over this. So yeah, should we give the details or no?
No.
Right.
We'll give them more as we're printing. So
good.
Next week, you guys, when we get printing, you'll hear all those.
Michaela's here to keep us on track.
All right, yeah. So that was just kind of what we did this week. So bringing us before our topic of screen printing, Alex has some industry news for you guys.
The industry news. So let me pull up my phone for those of you who are listening. But we have some big things to talk about. I mean, semi-big things, I would say.
One of them regarding garments.
One of them regarding garments. One of them regarding a new DTF printer, which is actually going to be the first thing I talk about. So those of you who are in the DTF industry, I'm sure you guys heard about this. I don't know how you could miss it. But Epson announced the SureColor F1070, and they're calling it an entry-level DTG and DTF combination printer.
How is that going to work?
That is a great question. So they're saying it is a hybrid printer, and basically they're saying that it's going to be the best of both worlds. So they're saying that DTG used to really be only performing well in like large shops, and they're saying with this hybrid one, it kind of is the best of both worlds since it has the ability to do DTG for runs like that and also DTF. But let me get a little bit into the article here. So they say the SureColor F1070 is engineered for both DTG and DTF printing. The hybrid SureColor printer addresses the growth of businesses that are looking to provide customized goods and t-shirts. The unit features an innovative enclosed design with transparent viewing panels to enhance the printing process. DTF printing capability allows users to go beyond traditional garment printing and transfer personalized designs to a wider array of materials. So they're being a little bit cavalier with the details. But for those of you who don't already know, it was technically possible to print DTF transfers on a DTG. It was just incredibly not reliable and not time efficient. So I just wonder if it's going to be something similar to that. And they're just trying to bank on the marketing of DTF since it's all the rave right now.
I mean, I can definitely see that because you see a lot of people wanting I see a lot of people buying converted Epson printers to print transfers, and everyone trying on the DTG to print. So it definitely could be, but we'll have to keep an eye on that because they didn't even show I think they showed one picture of it up front on the front of it, but I didn't see a spot that film could go. I didn't see.
No, I don't know. I don't think it's a roller based printer, which again, I think it's just it can print one-off DTF, which the other one could too, like normal DTGs.
We'll just have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, so apparently it's available for pre-order in February, shipping to customers in May 2024 through authorized Epson professional imaging resellers. So enjoy paying that tax, those of you who are interested in buying this. But moving on. Next up we have... What do we got?
This one's a little less exciting, but
a little less exciting
for everyone who's into garments, and maybe you're into this brand.
Okay, so American Apparel announces product expansion and Craft the Culture campaign. What is this, you might be asking? So American Apparel, I mean, they make really nice garments. They are what I would consider a retail ready garment. They're super high quality, and I know at least one person who uses them, or no, he used to use them, but then he switched to making his own blanks, and that was Linus Tech Tips from LTT Store. So he used to only exclusively use black American Apparel shirts because he really liked the quality of them, but then over time he switched to his own because American Apparel's quality was slipping over large batches. So yeah, they announced some new products 5 new lightweight fleece styles that offer more edgy designs, such as new woman's balloon crew neck. What is that?
If you scroll down in that, it shows you a list of like all of them, and then you can see kind of what it looks like. There was kind of one on there that made me kind of excited, and it was a woman's muscle tee.
Oh yeah, I see
So,
that. Okay.
It was.
What,
it looked
the
cropped.
heavyweight cotton woman's garment dyed
I mean, that
muscle
intrigued
tee.
me.
All right. What? So
I don't know why. I think it's cute.
okay. All right. I don't. We'll see about that. I'll insert a picture for those of you watching on the video. But okay. So I guess they're gonna be bringing this out. I mean, that's honestly pretty cool.
Yeah, it looked like there was a couple different sweatshirts, some crew necks.
Unisex mock neck. That's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
There was some cool stuff. It might be worth to check it out.
Yeah, actually, these. Okay, so I guess I'll tell you guys because I'm just reading the article. I'm not being very helpful for those of you who are listening. But yeah, so we got a couple of fleeces that are coming. So a pullover, a full zip, crew neck, sweatpants, stuff like that. We got a garment dyed T-shirt, that dyed muscle shirt, whatever Michaela was talking about. And I guess if I could describe it anyways, it would be like if you cut off the sleeves for a T-shirt. That's basically what it looks like.
It's a muscle tee that's cropped.
Okay.
Do you know? I think people know what muscle tees are.
All right, I hope they do. The Peak Unisex mock neck T-shirt, the Suede Unisex T-shirt, which they're saying is a premium jersey midweight fabric for ultra plush soft hand, and also the Unisex CVZ Henley T-shirt, which, looking at a picture right now, I'll insert that on the video, is basically a T-shirt. Okay. Yeah, we can maybe get these in once they start being distributed through like SNS and Sandmore and check them out.
Check them out.
But more blanks to choose from is
Yeah.
never a bad thing.
So
All
those
right.
were the bigger things in the industry news.
The main thing being the DTF printer
Yeah,
from Epson.
which maybe if we go to some shows or some exhibits this year, we can see if they have it.
True. I mean, I just wished Epson would finally create a normal DTF printer. The print
I think
heads that
it's
we're
about
using
time.
in our printer
Or
are
Epson.
Epson's. So it's like they're making the main
Why
product
would they
already.
do that though?
I mean,
When they
it's
have
just
so
extra.
many other companies buying. If you take it to one, think about that. If you have Epson
They could do
selling
both.
one, they could.
They could do
Yeah.
because they could have the whole support system that you're buying in Epson. So you get the authorized resale support system that they have here in the U.S. And I mean, you get the Epson brand and quality for what it's worth.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you. They keep bringing them money, and they don't want to cause competition for their supplier or who they supply to.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's something going on there.
Yeah.
All right. So for today's main topic, we are getting into all things screen printing. So we're going to share our little tips and tricks, some maybe experiences we've had in the past to save you guys the hassle. And this really just comes because we're going to be doing a lot of screen printing in the next couple weeks. So
Yeah. Get ready for that content.
yeah. So I guess we'll just hop straight into it.
Let's do it.
Our first tip would be quality of garments and
Which
artwork.
we have a couple of videos that would be perfectly helpful for that.
So you also want to think when you're giving a quote to your customers, they clearly are going to have a preference on what type of garment they might like. They might like a 100% polyester, a 50-50, maybe 100% cotton.
And if they don't, their other main concern is probably the cost.
Yes. So you want to make sure that while you're looking out the best for them, you're also looking out for yourself, because there are garments like you want to be prepared. It might change the way you print things. It might change the kind of ink you use. So you just definitely want to make sure that you're getting prepared in the garments.
And I
Part
mean,
of it
those
all.
of you who screen print, you know what tea you like printing
Yes.
on. Like,
And you might even recommend those to your
yeah,
customers.
I'm sure you guys like try and push your customers towards like whatever.
ones that you like.
Yeah, for sure. Soft styles, whatever.
Quality artwork is another big thing. I can't tell you how many times we've had customers send us a picture of a t-shirt and say, I want this.
Yeah.
So don't just be like, yeah, we can do that. Make sure they give you the quality artwork. We accept.
There will be sometimes actually when we get a picture of a monitor, with the t-shirt.
Yes.
So they'll have like the t-shirt on their computer and then they'll use their phone to take a picture. Those are really good. I love those.
I actually had an issue today with artwork, which was 100% my fault. She sent me a all white design with a black background, but it was super detailed. So I thought it was going to be super easy to remove this background. It wasn't. I ended up having to get Alex to help me. We had to do some maneuvering
In Photoshop, yeah.
Yeah. So
It's always better to, like, in this case, it was just like an oversight on our part. We should have asked the customer for the design without a background, but we were already
it was my mistake. I caught it, but I just thought, hey.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, yeah, we could have went back to ask the customer, but like, is that like the most?
That's our last resort.
Yeah, we'll try and figure it out ourselves before we have to do that, because at this time we've already taken the customer's money. A couple days have passed, like, you know what I mean? It doesn't look the best on our part, so.
Yeah, so once you get that quality artwork in, and you've got your garments, or even transfers, if you're doing transfer paper, the next you're going to obviously burn into the screen. You can go more into depth about what.
Yeah, I mean,
properly preparing your screen. You spent a lot of time while Jake was here going over exposure times, and mesh size or screen meshes. So just
it's just like your screen is your canvas, so obviously you want to make sure that it is in like impeccable condition. So when you're reclaiming it from the previous job, just like. This was probably the thing that we had the most trouble on with Jake, was just getting, making sure that
we had a trouble with everyone that's been in here.
Yeah. It's just challenging to get that thing figured out.
I mean, I had challenges with it. It's just getting it perfect.
Yeah. It really, like, there's just not really much margin for error. It needs to be perfect. And any slight imperfection will cause a problem with the screen. And God forbid it is like right in the center of the screen where you're going to be putting the design. Obviously, that's not ideal.
There's been a couple times where we will clean a screen and then you set it aside and a little tiny fuzz gets on it or hair gets on it. And then you put the emulsion over it. And then like 5 steps down the road, when you burn the screen design to the screen, there's a little fuzz in there that ruins. You just want to make sure.
It's the worst because, yeah, like she said, 5 steps later, you realize your mistake and it's already too late and you got to start right back at square one. So it's just like
you lose out on that screen.
Yeah. So. And then you got to reclaim that screen again. So it's just like preparing yourself ahead of time and making sure that your screens are as clean as they can possibly be before you coat them. What we do is we go through, so a typical process for a screen, we'll take any remaining ink off of it, and then we'll degrade the ink that is still left on the screen because there's some residue. It's plastisol. Not all of it is going to come off. We degrade the ink, and then we take emulsion remover to take the emulsion off. And after that, then we use the pink stuff, which is basically
the Holy
like
Grail.
Yeah, for real, which is like a degreaser. And that's what actually like takes off any of the hazing or ghosting from the ink design away, completely takes it away. The pink stuff is by far the best product I have used in this regard. So yeah, put the pink stuff on it and then give it a thorough wash with the pressure washer and then a final wash with the hose. So like when people say, why do screen printed transfers cost so much? It's because of this process right here. Step by step. Like to prepare a screen with your design is not easy. It is a lot of pretty manual steps unless you're like completely automated, but even still, it's a lot of handling the screen compared to like a DTF transfer. So there's a reason why those are priced so much more and why the quantity discounts are so much higher with screen prints, because there's so much upfront like setup. So
that's what I had actually a customer today call us and ask why screen prints for like a minimum of 6 are going to be more expensive than DTF. And I was like, well, there's a lot of steps that go behind screen printing. And she was like, oh, I thought it would be cheaper. And I was like, no, well, you got to print a transparency. You got to clean the screen. You got to emulsion the screen. You got to let it dry. Like I went through this. And she was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I just don't think a lot of people realize what is into screen printing. They're just like, I don't know. Yeah. But so that the question I think was, how do you prepare? What was the question?
Just like preparing the screen in general.
Yeah, preparing the screen. And as clean as you can possibly make it after you reclaim it. That's the best thing I can recommend. Drying it off in a pretty like dustless environment also helps, because when you're letting it sit there dry, some dust, hair, whatever can get on the screen, and it can ruin your day. But if you have an air compressor, you might be able to blow it off, and you'll be all right.
I have to say the power washer and the air compressor were two things that really helped with the screen printing for the screens.
Oh, like you can't you can't reclaim without a pressure washer.
We were doing it with a hose.
For like what, 10 screens
and then you
maybe?
said to yourself, no, I'm not doing this
No,
anymore.
it's not possible. So a pressure washer is an absolute must. Air compressor, you could probably, it's like, you could maybe do without, but it's a nice thing to have.
It is.
So yeah, the other thing that I would say for preparing the screens is having a high solids emulsion. So we use Ulano Orange, and what a high solids emulsion is, I think they print it on the label. It's like 40 or 50, 60, 40 to 60% or something like that, depending on like which actual brand of Ulano you use. They have a couple. So a high solids emulsion is going to give you a lot thicker coverage for one coat of the scoop coater, and that's exactly what you want, because you might not want to go over it twice. That can affect your exposure times. So a high solids emulsion is a high recommendation for me too, just to make sure that you can have the best possible ready to go screen that you can make.
Nice. Yeah, and that Ulano Orange is always out of stock, so I think some fellow screen printers know that one is a good one.
Out of stock at GSG Houston.
No, out of stock at GSG Texas, basically. We can never get it in. And then the one time it's like, we have one in Dallas. We'll send it to you. Okay, the next. Do you want to talk about this was something that was cool to me when we first started, like the different meshes and how you choose like the best mesh for your design.
Yeah.
What are your tips for looking at that?
Basically, the lower the number, so there's like, we stock a couple different kinds. We do 110 is we actually do 86, but we only use that. No, we do 40 and 86, but those are for glitter and foil. But we don't really use those. Basically, it's like 110, 156, and then there's, what is it, 215?
240, 156, 180.
195. It's 195. And then I think it's 230. It's definitely 230. I can't think of it on the spot. 230 and then 315.
I think there's another two. I think there's like a 295. 280. 280.
Yeah, so we basically do 230, 110, 315, and 305. I can't think of the things right now. There's so many numbers going on in my head. So 110, 156, 195, 230, and then the 305. So the 305s we used to use pretty often, but then we're like, this is awful.
Yeah, we did trial and error. Well, not even trial and error. We just did it, and then we were like, yeah, this is not working.
So we try not to use 305s. We really use 230s whenever we have like, okay, so let me explain. The higher up in that number, so like a 230, 305, that's going to be the type of screen that you use if you want to get a high detail screen. So if you have a design with halftones, for example, you're going to need to use at least a 195, 230, 305. And that's just because those little tiny dots won't be small enough for the actual holes. So like the meshes, so like, you know what like a screen door is, for those of you who don't know, you can like see like the grid, like a screen door. That's basically what a screen is. It's just a lot finer of that grid. And the higher the number, the finer of the grid. So a 230 is something that you need for halftone, so that you can actually hold those little dots in the screen and it doesn't just go through the hole in the grid. So the higher the number, the more detail. The lower the number, the bigger the hole, which is good for like a big block of text. That would be something you could use a 110 for. But yeah, anything with halftones, at least a 195 and whatnot. Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, no, that answered about everything. Yeah, we did a lot of, like we were saying, in the 300s, and it would break our back. Not only to like just push the ink through, But sometimes when you have such small holes in those 300, the ink wouldn't even go through sometimes. So you would be sitting there pushing ink, like multiple
and then you get
times.
ghosting.
And then you get ghosting on other parts of the design. Like it was so much of a headache to do when we would see that we were doing a 300 plus screen. Sometimes even a 290 to whatever. It was like, oh, like this is going to be a pain to deal with. So if the lower you can go, I would say is best. It's going to save you a lot of trouble and might just make your printing job easier.
And basically what it also correlates to, it kind of related to her point, is the higher the mesh, the lower amount of ink that you're going to be depositing because it's such a finer screen. So some clients that we have actually like the feel of designs printed on higher meshes.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because it's a lot thinner feeling and it has a softer hand.
But sometimes it doesn't pop the color because, like, again, you're applying the pressure. This is all if you're doing it by hand, which I'm sure a lot of beginners are. But I don't know how it would be with an auto.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't know.
One day. We'll be wishing for that next week.
It's on the goals for this year.
Okay, so you've picked your screen. The mesh is perfect. You've washed it out. One little side note, you're about to put it onto the press is what we're getting to. But one little side note, have you always used registration marks?
Mm-hmm.
Always?
Yeah.
Really? I feel like there were times we didn't.
Maybe when we were using that one blue press from Amazon, but not ever since we had the big boy.
I don't think I used to. When you first started telling me to print transparencies, I don't think I ever used registration marks. Add registration marks on your design.
Yeah, that's like a...
Yeah. I didn't do it though. So again, that could just be me. So
makes things hard.
Yeah.
Working on hard mode.
Again, that's what I told trying to just make it easy as possible for you.
Well, should we explain maybe what registration marks are?
Go for it. You didn't explain it to me.
So registration marks are, if you've ever seen, like, it basically looks like a bullseye. And you put it at the top and the bottom and the corners of the transparency when you're doing multicolor designs so that you can line up the different colors on the press with the screens. So the registration marks kind of are like, you put one bullseye on top of the other, you put the other bullseye on top of the other, and you can guarantee that the colors will be in the right places when you go to print each of the colors. Because again, for those of you who don't know, screen printing is done color by color, so you can't just print all of the colors at once. If you have a design with 4 colors, you're going to need 4 different screens and 4 different transparencies, so you would need all of those registration marks to help line up the transparencies when you're on press.
Yeah. So that's just one of the things. Add it, guys. I'm telling you now. Learn from my experience.
There's templates that you can use. Lee Stewart has one available on his website if you want those. Or you can just make them yourself. There's nothing to it. You can literally make it yourself in Photoshop in 2 seconds. That's what we did.
All right. So you got your screen onto your press. The next is just mainly making sure you have all of the right materials. You really want to have a good ink. We have tried a couple different ones. I think we've settled on the one that we like, which we'll tell at the end.
Which is controversial, actually.
Well,
a lot of people don't like it.
And
I think people will be like, what? You like this ink?
But we even have a couple different inks for, like, if we're doing a black garment, we have kind of a thicker white ink that we use that makes it more pop. And it also sometimes we don't have to push as many times. So just making sure that you have your right materials, you have your squeegees, all of that, which again, on the topic of ink, about the ink mixing, whatever you call it. What did you call it? What is it called?
Ink mixing system.
That's okay. So when we first started, we had, if someone would bring us like what's a color that's not in the ink? Like a light, say it's like a light blue. We would, this was not good. Don't do this. We would pull up a picture on the computer and then try to like eye it with the color. So we would add, like if it was a light blue, we would add like a navy blue and then some white and then stir it. And then we would like hold it up to the computer to see if it it was not good.
On cheap monitors, no less, too. So they weren't like color accurate monitors or anything like that.
So we spent a lot of time, and it would be a headache, and it was my job. So Alex would come into me and be like, "Hey, I need you to make this color," and it was just, I just knew it was gonna frustrate me. But we actually ended up investing in
I mean, for what it's worth, it worked for
it worked time for, that it did. With a lot of stress and hair pulling, because then it would be like, well, that color's too dark. Well, you can't take a color out, so you got to start over. So we invested in an ink mixing kit. This thing saved my life because we use it for transfers as well as garments. Basically, what it is I'm not even sure where we got it. Where did we get that?
Screenprinting.com.
Yeah, so maybe if you're looking for it, you can search it on there. But it's basically, they send you 12 of the basic colors. You might be better at explaining this.
I can't remember how many colors it is offhand. But yeah, they send you basically one of every color you need to make any color you want. So they give you I think it's 9, 10, or 11 different colors. And then with those colors plus the mixing base, which is mixing white, you can literally make any color in the Pantone system. So,
and all you have to do is just find the Pantone number, color number, put it into, they have a spot on their website, you put it in, and it gives you the exact weight of each color. And then you just put it all in.
Yeah, so you put a little container on the scale, tear it out, and then just add the colors as needed.
Life-saving, guys.
And then just stir it up, and you have your color exactly accurate, as long as you were accurate with your measurements.
It also saves too, saves you time with customers, because we've had customers that are like, I want this Pantone color. Okay, here, let me make it for you. And then maybe they're looking at it from a wrongly colored monitor, and then they get it in. Well, this is too dark. This is too light. And I'm like, this is the exact formula that we used, and this is, so it saves you that rather than eyeing it.
I mean, little bit of a tangent here. Did you know that Pantone actually recommends you to have you seen the Pantone books before?
Mm-hmm. So when you paint your house or something.
Yeah, so they recommend that you buy a new one of them from them every single year.
Because they update?
No, because they can degrade.
What do you mean?
So the plastic or paper in the booklets can degrade. So
then the
color isn't accurate. So
maybe those people are using the wrong Pantone.
Yeah, you don't know how old their Pantone book is or whatever. So conveniently for Pantone, you have to buy another one of their $400 books or something like that, whatever it is. And that's just for the books. I also, Linus Tech Tips is getting a bunch of shout outs in this video. Mm-hmm. He has a video where they have a plastic dyed cart, and in the cart there's pieces of, so there'll be a 605C, and you can pull out the color and it'll be a Lego or whatever, and it'll be the actual color in dyed plastic, and it's $10,000, and they do the same thing. They recommend you buy a new one every year. So yeah, I'm sure those of you who know, you love the Pantone company because they're just so great. But yeah, tangent aside.
We see how you feel about them.
You guys know. Those of you who know, you know.
But yeah, so that e-mixing kit is amazing. I would definitely invest in one if you're doing a lot of screen printing.
It can pay for itself because we charge extra for custom colors.
Yeah. It allows you to do custom colors. That was a big deal, because we would have people sometimes we can't do it if you can't get it right, because there's been some hard colors, and you have people that are kind of nitpicky, and they're
what would you say is the hardest? I know what I would say.
Hardest color?
Yeah.
For me
to make.
I don't know.
Pink was terrible.
Pink. No, it was neon pink.
Okay, yeah, you're right. But pink was also hard.
Pink is hard.
Yeah, neon pink was
I thought it would
impossible.
just be magenta and white. It's not.
No, neon pink though is nearly impossible.
Yeah, you can't do it. We had one order for neon pink, and I did it using the Pantone color, and she said they looked great. She loved them, but it didn't look neon. It just looked light pink. Yeah, so get the ink mixing kit. It would save you time. Yeah, so basically just making sure you have the right materials, and then also curing is a big thing.
Big thing.
Yeah, you don't want to overcure, you do not want to undercure.
It's a fine balance.
It is,
'Cause if
especially
you-
doing 2 colors too, or
if-
3 colors. 4
Yeah,
colors.
because then you have to manage the flash too. So you have to flash cure. Yeah, that's a whole different thing. So if you over cure, you're going to have cracking in your garment. If you under cure, you could have the garment fall off, or the design fall off in the wash. So it's a really fine balance. And the thing that I could probably recommend the most for this would just be getting a temperature gun.
Yeah.
The like IR temperature guns. Some of them like are inaccurate, so just like get a good one maybe. But those things are super helpful, and just managing your dwell time is also really important.
Yeah, we have tester shirts that we use before we print any job. We just print it, put it through, we get the heat gun, and we make sure that the temperature
All of our
is
settings
right.
are dialed in,
Yes.
so that when we actually run the production garment through, we're not burning it, we're not under curing it. Everything is just good to go.
Yeah, we definitely we actually burnt one a couple weeks ago.
Oh my god.
That was my mistake. If you guys can't tell who makes the problems here, it was definitely me. But yeah, so just make sure, because you don't want them to get it, wash it, and then it cracks after the first time. Like you want to send
The
quality,
screen printer's
long
worst
lasting.
nightmare.
Yeah, you want them to. I see so many people in the screen printing group on Facebook, just like the community, that are talking about like, my customer came back to me and like their design for their screen printing is all cracked, or it's already chipped off, or it's faded. And the number one answer on all of those posts is, what was like your curing time? What was that? So you want to really get that dialed in. That's going to be a tremendous help for your customer service as well, so you don't have people complaining.
Yeah, it's just like for those of you who are in DTF, DTG, you need to cure your transfers
Yes.
properly in the same way. So it's pretty similar to that regard.
Yeah. A lot of this can be applied to DTF. Make sure the ink's
A
good.
lot of it, like nearly all of it.
The only thing not
Except
is the
for, like, screen
screens.
preparation.
Yeah. Which you still have to get your printer preparated. But yeah,
Preparated?
what
Preparated?
prepared. I was reading and thinking at the same time. Yeah, so basically those are probably our biggest things. I had a couple notes on here, just like giving yourself something that I learned was giving ourselves enough time to complete jobs. So we would have like a 600 garment front back, or not 600 altogether. So it's like 300 front and back. And we would be like, we can knock that out in 2 days. And 5 days later, and we're still printing the first half. So you just want to give yourself enough time to make sure that you're printing. It also stops from having mistakes from occurring, because if you're on a
less
deadline,
stressed.
yeah, and you're stressed, you're going to miss things. It also gives you time. If you mess up a garment, you can order another one
Exactly.
prepared. So just give yourself enough time.
And plus, it's like, it's one of those things, under promise, over deliver.
Yep.
So if you get a head start on it, you can get it to your customer a bit earlier.
And then they're going to be like, wow. Like,
yeah. So that's like the
amazing.
worst case. Your customer gets it early, but like best case, you mess something up. You built yourself in some time, some margin.
People are pretty in this industry like that, or customers, or at least ours are pretty. I mean, you always have the one people, but pretty understanding if something goes wrong. That it's like, hey, this happened.
I think it's like, I don't know. I'm really just speculating, but maybe they just appreciate that we didn't ship it to them. We were like, oh no,
Yeah.
we're gonna pull it out.
We
redo
had
it.
that happen a couple months ago. Maybe one of our customers, she's very, very loyal to us. Her garment just wasn't coming out the way that I wouldn't want to sell them myself. So we reached out to her and we said, hey, we're going to send the rest of your garments, but these might be delayed because we're not proud of it. And she was like, wow, thank you for like telling me that, like just whatever you can get them. Like it was, I mean, again, we didn't send her a crap piece of product.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, what are the chances someone working at like 100,000 square foot facility where they have a whole bunch of presses, whole
Yeah.
bunch of printers? What are the chances one of their employees are actually going to take the time to be like, does this really look right? Something like that. So that's one of the benefits to being small. But One of the benefits.
One of them. And building that relationship with clients where you can actually, or you're comfortable telling them that. But yeah, that's just basically our little tips and tricks about screen printing. I mean, if you guys are screen printers, feel free to leave your tips in the comments also. If we missed something, maybe something that helps you. We learn new things every day from screen printing, DTF. One of the things that, like, this is, again, a tangent, that we learned from DTF was that bar.
The color bar.
No, well, that was a big one. But the metal
powder
bar.
bar? Gotcha.
So we learn things every day, too. So we love to hear what you guys, your tips and tricks also below.
For sure.
Now we just have a couple questions that have been asked.
Into the Q&A section.
Kind of just talking about screen printing kind of on this topic. So I had to dig deep for them, but...
guys, first, let's tell them where they can ask some of their questions. So guys, please ask your questions. We are looking to answer any questions that you guys have. So if you have any questions, please drop them. If you're listening on Spotify, there's a Q&A section. If you're listening on YouTube, drop them in the comments. Wherever.
Social medias.
Just, try and get in contact with us. Social media at ChooseAMS, at WW Transfers. Just, try and get in contact with us with your questions.
And we will definitely, and if you want a shout out for them, we'll leave your name and we'll just give you a thanks for asking.
Yeah.
But most of these just came from social media, TikTok mainly, or YouTube. When we show like our process of things, of course, people have questions. So the first one says, how do you keep the paper, like transfer paper, or garment from shifting when you press?
Good question. So I actually, man, I love this product. I would actually consider selling it myself. I've talked to Michaela about this before. But yeah, so we use heat resistant tape, and there's a whole bunch of different kinds of this. There's actually probably only like two. There's like the Cricut one, which is kind of like Scotch tape, if you guys like the Scotch tape roll. So you can put it in a Scotch tape dispenser. And then there's also this like giant one, like it's huge, probably like the size of a softball in circumference. So those are really large and they're super thin. They're good for sublimating mugs, really good for that. But in terms of like putting them on a t-shirt, they're not the best, and they're so huge. So like, that's the main reason I don't like them. I just use the Cricut one, but we don't even use the Cricut one. So that's the thing. There's this knockoff one on Amazon that is like, $6.90 something for, what is it? $6? So it's like $1 or something a piece. And it's a really good deal. The same exact thing, basically. So yeah, that's what we use to make sure that the transfer doesn't move. So we'll be putting it on the table next to the heat press. Make sure that the transfer looks good and is like centered on the tee, the collar, everything about that. And then we'll tape it onto the t-shirt so that we can move it from the table onto the heat press. No big deal. And it also, like, you don't have to fix the transfer on the heat press, maybe burn yourself. Like, you can literally get it perfect while you can see the shirt flat, and then transfer it over to the heat press, and it'll be all good.
So that's funny because I actually interpreted this question in a different way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe it was because I was on my screen printing brain, but I was thinking how to stop the garment from shifting.
What was the question exactly?
I mean, I think you're right. How to keep the paper or garment from shifting when you press.
Okay.
But it was on, So, okay. So let's do it from my brain. How would you keep it on the pallet when you press the...
Yeah,
what do you use for that?
It depends. So if you're using hoodies, if you're printing hoodies, I would really recommend using spray adhesive. I learned that the hard way for those of you who have been watching my YouTube videos, and I just printed some hoodies recently.
You're going to print more next week.
So I need to buy some spray adhesive, but yeah, spray adhesive for sure on the hoodies. But otherwise, if you're just printing t-shirts or normal flats, I would do water-based adhesive. So it's like, comes in a bottle like Elmer's glue kind of, but it's not.
It kind of looks like glue.
And it's glue.
Oh.
So you just put it onto the palette and then heat it a little bit to dry the glue, and then you can use it to make sure that the tea doesn't move at all. But then after the palette has accumulated some lint, you could take like a brush and scrub off all of the lint, put the palette back under the flash for a second, and your press will basically be sticky again, just like how it was the first time that you glued it. So water-based adhesive is perfect for that. That is what we use to keep the garment secure, and also what we use to keep the transfer paper secure when we're screen printing it. So yeah, really, I don't know which one that question meant, but you guys
got an
got
answer
the
to
two-parter.
both. Yeah. This one was an easy answer. How do you clean a squeegee?
Degradant and paper towels.
And water. Just scrub, wash. Can halftone printing be used in screen printing? Can you
Yes.
print halftones?
That's what you use for high detailed designs.
Yeah, so you touched on that a little bit earlier
yeah.
when it came to mesh screens.
So if it's something like a cloud, like a shadow or a cloud, something like that, where it's not completely black, but you want to like it's really difficult to describe actually. If you've ever seen like old timey photos, this is all how they used to take photography back in like the 20s. They just used halftone dots. So if you've ever seen old timey photos, this is basically what it is and how the designs are made up. But it's just a whole bunch of tiny little dots. And from a distance, your eyes make it seem like it's one thing. And they work really well. So screen printing with halftones is how you achieve high detail, how you achieve kind of like transparency with designs, and how you can blend different inks. So you can use 2 different colors, 2 different screens. By using halftones can make a completely different color. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Again, all by like basically playing tricks on your eyes.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. How to achieve consistent print quality when you have high volume jobs?
This is actually challenging because the quality can shift over time. Like something
Also,
can
your momentum goes down
yeah,
halfway through jobs.
something can change with the screen, and it's just like, why is the ink getting stuck in this one spot of the screen? It wasn't doing that before. And most of the time we've realized it's because there hasn't been enough adhesive down on the palette,
Yes.
and the shirt has been coming up a little bit.
That's what I was gonna say. Go back to the adhesive. That's
Yeah. But yeah, so just there really isn't I don't have like a straight answer for it, but just pay attention.
everything
and-
basically we said above. Make sure you have the nice, good quality screen. Your mesh is right. If there is something on your screen and you need to use like screen opener, don't overuse it.
and
I've done
clean it
that.
off right away. You don't want it to sit.
There's been, when I first started printing, I would use the screen opener like there was no tomorrow, and then the emulsion would wear down, and then it would, yeah. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on your screen, treating it, if it's a very high quality job or a very high quantity job, I should say. Make sure you're just.
And one thing I could probably say to making sure that you have sufficient quality the whole run on large jobs is just using good quality ink. Michaela alluded to this a little bit earlier in the episode, but I wanted to touch on it some more. The ink that we use for the t-shirts is a little bit different than the ink that we use for the screen print transfers. So for the t-shirts, we really like using.
That's the next question.
Oh, is it?
That's your controversial answer.
Oh, okay. All right, let's go. Let's hear it.
The question is, what is your favorite brand of screen printing ink?
Okay, so favorite for
bum, bum.
t-shirts is Wilflex Epic. It prints like really, really well. You probably print flash print for white, and you'll have a really nice white on a black garment. It is incredibly thick, so it's not fun to print. But
Or
man,
like stir up.
no, but man, does it go on well.
When it sits for a while, it almost becomes like a solid. So we have to take a drill,
put it under the flash a
put
little bit.
and just mix it.
Yeah. So it's not the most fun to use, but man, it looks good and it works well. But for screen print transfers, we actually use FN ink. And we don't use it for the garments because it's just not as great as Wilflex on garments. For like to get a bright white on a black garment with the FN ink, you might have to do 3 print flash prints, and that's not fun. That's going to take some time. So I would probably, we go through the extra hassle of just doing an extra hit or of using the Wilflex and taking the pain as it comes.
The ink mixing kit that I was telling you guys about earlier, that is FN ink.
Mm-hmm.
So
From screenprinting.com.
yeah. So I like them. You said that's the one people don't like?
No, I love them. They're not the best for printing apparel.
Yeah.
It's just not the highest of qualities ink. But the reason why we like it so much is because it's like butter. Like it's like
It's perfect for transfers.
it's so thin, and it's really nice to like print. The white is like nothing I've ever experienced before. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. That answers all the questions.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Currently at 48 minutes on the show. Those of you who are still here, thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the podcast. This is the third episode that we have done. They're getting some decent views. I'd like to see them a little bit better, but I think we just maybe need to choose some better topics or something like that.
Yeah.
So if you guys have anything, those of you who made it this far, you are the ones that I want to hear from. So please leave a comment down below if you're watching this on YouTube. Get in contact with me. Otherwise, let me know what you guys would like to see from us, what you guys would like to hear, and we will make it happen. We are trying to get this podcast off of the ground as fast as we can. So going to take what you guys have to say into account and give you guys what you want. So if there's anything that we could do better, anything that you would like to see from us, please let us know.
Yeah. Any question, any industry news that you guys want?
Do you want to hear us cover stuff like that?
Any topics? It could be anything, DTF, anything printing, you know.
Yep.
And we can always go in depth to things. But
For sure. If you guys can hear it or not, I'm not sure if the microphones will pick it up,
Mine
but it
probably
is
is.
pouring outside. So we're going to wrap up this show now. Thank you guys so much again for listening.
Thank
We
you.
really do appreciate it. And with that, we will see you guys next week.